What's up, my guys, and welcome back to the Make Me a Sandwich podcast, where we are celebrating something so special today.
Christmas.
Halloween, my favorite time of the year.
I'm pretty sure the last time I went trick-or-treating was when I was like 11. So I was like a super early graduate of
12.
Halloween.
Well, to be honest, I did try to find a different costume for you than what I ended up finding.
What were you trying to go for?
Jimmy Neutron.
That would have been good. By the way, you just had a seizure. So
yeah, I just had a seizure before we started filming. So I might have one while we're filming, which would be like really cool.
Yeah, so you guys can just talk about behind the fucking scenes.
Yeah, it happened like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I feel really tired now from it, but like that's fine. We'll get through it. We have like an hour together, so let's just hop right into it. All right, I'm going to insert this after the little intro that we had in the beginning, but I have been having seizures before and during the process of filming this podcast. So if you see me sitting back and just gazing off in the distance and letting Dan do a lot of the talking, it's not because he's cutting me off, or it's not because I'm bored of the conversation. It's just because I cannot focus. So I'm going to do my best to get through the podcast, but if you see me just looking a little bit out of it, it's just because I'm struggling with my epilepsy today. So thanks, guys.
Yeah.
We were talking about Halloween. So Halloween has lost its meaning, unfortunately. It used to be like one of my favorite holidays as a kid. And now it's just like, okay, here's the thing. I was thinking this earlier with something unrelated. That when you push something so hard, or when it's such a competition, it just loses its fun. And I feel like, at least amongst girls, I feel like maybe Halloween is still fun for guys. Like, I was at Spirit Halloween today, and this guy was so excited to be a pope. Like, that's just like such a classic dude thing. Like, he was so excited, and I was so excited for him because he thought it was the best costume ever. A girl is just trying to like out-sexy the other girls at the party. This is the most fun I've ever had in a Halloween costume. Like, I don't feel like I have to like upstage anybody. I don't feel like I have to impress anyone. I don't feel like I'm trying to like look hot. Like, this is just fun.
I feel like
this is what Halloween should be.
But I do feel like events, like this kind of like annual occurrence, does have a tendency when it sort of hits its peak. Do
you think it's like a wedding? Like, it's like this one-time thing. It has to be. It's the only time I'm going to wear this costume, and I have to be the best. And it's also like this girl thing. Like, you know how like no girl, like girls don't want anybody else to be the superior girl. So like everybody at this freaking Halloween party, or like at any Halloween party, which there's a ton of them, I was walking to get tea without you earlier, and everybody was dressed up in freaking NASA spaceships.
So here's the
hot ones, like hot rocket ships. And I'm in my new merch, the Masculinity is Not Toxic merch, with my backpack, walking with my Birkenstocks down the street, and I have like hot rocket ships next to me.
I was thinking, this is a reference that you may or may not get. Have you ever watched the NBA dunk contest?
Yes.
That's what I feel like Halloween is.
Yes.
It's like back in the like late 90s, early 2000s, and before that, the dunk contest was great because every year there was like this one-upsmanship, and guys became more athletic, they became more creative, there became, better angles with the cameras to showcase the event. But then you get to now, and you're just like, maybe not now, I think it was like mid-2010s, there was a point where everyone was just like, how do we've run out. Yeah, we've run out. Like what? Like, what's our next prop? What's our next? Like, there was one guy who just did an alley-oop dunk where he blew. I have
to loosen this.
Where he blew out a candle on a cupcake sitting on the rim. That was what we had to get to. It was just like, oh look, his head was so high that he was able to blow out the candle. That was creative. But now what's happened is, with social media, there's like this newfound respect for sort of the highlight reel plays that emphasize just like the raw athleticism that like sets these guys apart. And now it's almost gone away from the creativity and circled back to like just like a perfection of execution with like intensity. So I wonder if Halloween is hitting its like mid 2010s dunk contest phase, where everyone's just like, what's left? Like, how can we get more creative? I think we might actually see a return back to like OG scary Halloween.
Like,
and people are just going to execute those costumes
like
better
gender
than
roles.
Yeah, like traditional
Like
families,
feminism.
traditional families coming back. But I do think that you're going to see just better execution of actual scary Halloween costumes in the not so distant future.
I don't like scary Halloween costumes.
Like I feel like slutty Halloween is kind of going to lose.
Okay, but there's like an
luster.
in between. Like I don't like so I'm afraid of mascots.
No, I'm not saying like
No. But they had people wearing masks in the Halloween, so I almost peed myself.
yeah. Well,
I don't like that. I hope that doesn't come back.
Yeah. Comment below if you also have an irrational fear of mascots.
Nobody does. I've met a couple people.
It's the weirdest girl.
I have an irrational fear of mascots. Like when we go to a sporting event, if there's a mascot, I will literally cry if it comes near me.
Yeah, I thought I was going to have to fight the Philly Fanatic one day.
Yeah, I can't. Like I will.
Which would have been a really, because I love that guy.
I won't sit close to the dugout. Like if there is a $100 ticket for first row at the Philadelphia dugout and a $100 ticket for the 200 level, I'm taking the 200 level.
Yeah, it's so.
I'm not getting close to that green thing.
It's so silly.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. A lot of you guys wanted us to talk about like, girls and slutty Halloween costumes, and like, I don't have much to say about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's the way Halloween is.
It's like, just go watch Mean Girls.
It's everybody's excuse to like be a hoe now. Mean Girls, that was an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we should bring up that clip. It's just like, I feel like Mean Girls might have been the start for like the way a lot of girls view Halloween.
Who would have thought a movie all about toxic femininity would result in a catastrophic phase for Halloween sluttiness?
But I feel like okay, I'll play like the first. I need to do it on my phone, but like just listen to the first couple of words, and I feel like this just makes sense as to why Halloween is the way it is. I feel like we're going off track. We're about to talk about something really interesting, so just bear with me.
Jenny is like the star of the show right now.
Oh yeah, Jenny's in the podcast.
She was just yawning and stretching.
Listen.
Just killing it.
In girl world, Halloween is the one night a year when a girl can dress like a total slut and no other girls can say anything about it. The hardcore girls just wear lingerie and some form of animal ear. Doesn't she look great, honey? What are you? I'm a mouse.
Like this is, I was walking down Central and I saw people in lingerie and in bunny ears.
I totally forgot about the dad's reaction.
I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no one told me about the slut rule, so I showed up like this.
This is like us. We're like Lindsay Lohan right now.
Yeah.
Not that bad.
Yeah, we're still doing characters.
Yeah.
Like I think that's going to come back. I think that's going to come back.
I don't know. Anyway, can I have my kratom? I asked that last episode. Everybody was like,
What was the most Halloween-y thing that you ever were? I was a vampire one year as a kid. That was like the most Halloween-esque costume. I had some weird costumes.
I hate to tell you, I don't remember a lot of my costumes. I have a really bad memory of my childhood, probably for a lot of reasons, which we could talk about in another podcast episode.
Because I had multiple years where I was Andy Reid. Yeah, like I put on. Like to those that don't know, current coach of the Kansas City Chiefs and former coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
We're from Philadelphia.
And we're from Philly. But yeah, I had like this Eagles windbreaker and a headset, like big headphones. And I put the headphones on. I put pillows under my windbreaker and just walked around like Andy Reid. I had that.
That's so good.
I had like a couple of years where I was like a basketball player. Yeah, I was never really anything like over the top. Like as a kid, I think I was like a dinosaur multiple times.
I don't think I was ever a dinosaur.
Like one of those really shitty like onesies where you pull the hood up and it's like the
it's like inflates.
like the stegosaurus. No. It was.
I can't be near those inflatable ones because it looks like a mascot.
I was like a stegosaurus with like the spiky hood and things like that. But yeah, like it's funny. It's supposed to be a haunted holiday, but rarely do you get like the skeletons.
Yeah, I was a skeleton. I told you I showed you the picture. It was like
You were a skeleton one year.
It was like the Dia de los Muertos skeleton, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to be a haunted holiday. Yet people go out of that. I never even thought about that.
We're talking too much.
Yeah, like you were a mermaid one year. There's nothing scary about a mermaid.
Whatever. So anyway, Halloween. That's all of our thoughts on Halloween. But we are here for one main. People are racing outside. We're here for like one main topic today. We are going to talk about our favorite comments of the week at the end. But our topic is the Facebook group, Are We Dating the Same Guy? Which I have talked about this group in depth a lot in videos, but I've shown screenshots, but I've never like shown you guys the groups. And I have found a way to infiltrate the groups. I will not tell you how, but I am in some of these Facebook groups. So what I'm going to do is screen record my laptop and share it on the screen somehow. And we're going to go through one of the groups I'm in, which is the Are We Dating the Same Guy Boston/Cambridge group. Let me start screen recording this. I'm not very tech savvy, so we're learning this as we're going. Hold on.
And please try to take us seriously in the costumes throughout the episode. Thank you.
Hold on. How do I gotta figure out how to do this. I might have to pause this for a second. You guys might not be able to see all of this, but there are 58,400 members in the Boston group alone.
And by the way, Boston is not a big city. Contrary to popular opinion, I'm pretty sure the population is like close to 600,000 or something like that. You can fact check me, but it's not that big.
Okay, so let me give you guys a little bit of a background. So these groups are for girls. Let's read the about section. This group is a place for women to protect, support, and empower other women, a place where women can speak freely, openly, and honestly without the fear of harassment or intimidation. There are 4 main uses of this page. It could be used as a place where women can warn other women about liars, cheaters, abusers, or anyone who exhibits any sort of toxic or dangerous behavior. Again, another ambiguous term, toxic. What's toxic?
What's dangerous?
What's dangerous? It can be used to check to see if anyone has posted any warnings about someone that you're considering dating. It can be used to inquire about someone you're dating or may potentially date. This is a safe space, blah, blah, blah. So basically, guys, if you live in a major city and you are on dating apps and you go on a decent amount of dates with girls, I promise you, you are in one of these groups. And you didn't have to do anything wrong. All that needed to happen was that it did not have to work. It didn't work out with you and the girl. And maybe you ghosted her. Or maybe you were dating a few other girls and they didn't work out. Whatever.
How about you're currently dating them and they just want the tea?
Or they want the tea. That's the best one.
Like, that's it.
Okay, so here's my favorite. It's the first post. So, first post I'm looking at right now. These are, I guess I don't know why the posts are old, because it's September, but I guess it's just maybe there's new updates. But first thing that comes up, any tea or red flags on Tyler 26 from Medford. In the comment section, they will then post a photo of Tyler. Somebody replies, he's talking to me too, with a bunch of eyes. When did you start talking? 25 replies. There is a chain. He told me he wasn't in the industry of getting involved with anyone, no matter how he may make it seem. Stay vigilant. He won't commit. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So guys, I just want to take you through this group and show you what the hell is going on. Because I think it's important that guys, I'm going to get slaughtered online for talking about this.
Who cares? And I just want to make, like, we're going to go through more, but, like, that's an example where you actually do have a guy who, like, God forbid, talking to more than one girl when you're a man who's dating in a city. Like, notice there's no information about, like, he said he was committed to just me, or he said that I was the only one that he was seeing, or anything like that. Nothing like that. So already right there, there's this whole weapon to basically just penalize you for dating, as though these girls don't also date multiple guys at the same time. But what about that word that we saw earlier, dangerous? Dangerous does not mean, like, he beat me or anything like that. Dangerous could be something like, hey, like, anybody got any, like, red flags on this? Oh, like, I actually have a friend who dated him before, and it's probably not that big of a deal, but she did say that he had a little bit of a temper sometimes. So I'm just, like, letting you know, like, just be aware. Just be aware. That completely convolutes your relationship with that girl moving forward. Completely convolutes it, because some girl decided to speak up and tell her that you might have a temper, which makes you a red flag as a guy, apparently, because other guys don't have tempers. All of us don't have tempers to some capacity.
I found a good one. Here's another one that a girl posted. I'm just batting 1,000 over here. Ryan Medford 34, red flag. What's her reasoning for Ryan being a red flag? Here's her reasoning. Chatted, nice conversation, good banter. He asked me if I was free Saturday night. Said a day and time and area, but not place. He said he'd text this week with the place. Didn't hear from him. Texted to ask, radio silent, so I wished him good luck. Ginny.
Hey, Jen.
She's dreaming.
There you go.
Basically, he didn't reply for 7 hours. And she then posted him on this page. And somebody said...
Wait, hold on. Go back.
I just wanted to check if we're still on for tomorrow. She sent this at noon, 7 p.m. So he didn't reply for 7 hours.
Okay, so this is crazy. So let's play out the full scenario here. Let's assume he actually did ghost, like, multiple days. Even if that happened, really, that's
does this qualify to post him to a group of
as a red flag?
60,000 members?
Yeah, to 60,000 members, to basically paint this guy with no other context other than he just decided to ghost me. But hold on. At least you could say that maybe he could have handled that situation better. How about the fact that 7 hours later he hadn't responded? And then she hit him with the whole, yeah, I'm just going to wish you the best of luck because I don't really appreciate this. Why do you think he didn't respond to that? Because he's, like, dodging a freaking bullet on this one.
It gets better. So then it's amazing if you can actually get into one of these groups and read the shit that goes on. Somebody then replies, if this is the criteria we use for red flags, almost every guy I've talked to from online dating would have been a red flag. These types of situations have literally happened to me 3 times in the past month. Ryan is a good family friend. Although he may not have responded in a timely manner and/or ghosted you, I wouldn't label him as having red flags. He's a great guy if he gives you the chance to get to know them. This girl that is the author of this post then replies, feel free to defend him how you know him personally, but I find it rude and it seriously takes one text saying my interest has changed. My texts were 7 hours apart, but it had been a week. Oh, now she's saying it's been a week.
No, but he hadn't texted her in a week.
No,
right?
This was a day. It would have changed the day. It would have today and today. Yes.
No, but she's saying it had been a week since the OK Perfect, right?
Oh.
Yeah, which
it doesn't matter.
Which even so, you had set the date for tomorrow, and you were checking to see if you're good for tomorrow.
It's like who the hell, like, move on.
And also this, and this is again a sort of a fundamental difference between most men and most women. I think the way that I coach a lot of my clients to free advice here to handle flakers is to not assume the worst. Like if someone were to let you, if someone wasn't responding, or if someone told you that they had to reschedule, you don't assume the worst about them. You don't just suddenly go into freaking panic mode, like, oh my God, another one, just deciding to freaking go. don't assume that. If they don't get back to you in a timely manner, maybe they don't even get back to you by the end of the day. It's suspicious, but feel free to give like one more follow-up. It's worth it. You never know what's happening in someone's life. And a lot of times it takes one last check-in to see what's up. That's it. Like, you never know what's happening, and for you to just assume the worst is a complete and utter waste of your time, and you're potentially blowing possible opportunities with that.
Like this one, anonymous member. Hey girls, before I agree to go on a date with this person, does anyone have tea? Dwayne, 28, Medway, Maine.
God, this is happening.
This poor guy just gets posted. There's no comments so far.
In Maine. I didn't know guys in Maine were subject to this. Jesus.
Well, this is in specifically the Boston Cambridge group. I guess local. This is in every city. This is in literally every city. Like, there's one in Tampa. I believe they have about 60,000 members. Philadelphia is a crazy amount of members.
And by the way, do you mind if I finish my previous thought real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have had multiple situations in the past where I have wound up going on a first date with somebody where I followed up with them and they ended up getting back to me the following day, basically just like apologizing. And they had some sort of an excuse, whether it was a real excuse or not. I'm not 100% sure, but I've gone on some really, really good dates with people who went radio silent for an extended period of time. And I even had other situations where someone didn't respond to me and I hit them with a much more polite version of like, hey, so I'm just going to take this as you're not that interested. You know, if you're ever interested in the future, feel free to reach out. I'd be more than happy to go out or meet you. And I've had girls reach back out to me and I've gone on dates with them. Like, all it takes is being a genuinely good person with a degree of patience. Like, don't simp, don't lose all dignity by like going all in either a good or a bad way. But just like, to your point from earlier, just move on. Just move on. And moving on can also be like, still open to meeting you. No idea what happened, but like, let me know. And more than happy to chat. This is the overcomplication of the dating world that people are right about. This is an overcomplication.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find other good ones.
I mean, all of them are good in some capacity, right? Like, why did that guy get posted? The guy you were just looking at.
Let me find a better one. They're all good, but I just some of them are just
Can you
lame.
scroll back up? Like, go back up. Look at this guy. Look, good-looking guy.
Any tea on Jeremy?
Like, look at that. He's got a great body, great smile, great head of hair, good-looking guy. This is basically like. It's almost as if she wants people to like comment positively so that she can start talking about how great it's been to spend time with him because he's such a good-looking guy. It's like
nobody
an
has
anonymous,
replied.
humble brag.
Nobody has replied.
It's a validation thing.
I'm trying to find ones where it's like the ones where they do the loyalty tests. That's a good one.
What the hell's the loyalty test?
Where they'll post a picture of them and their boyfriend and be like, hey, like, we've been together for 5 years. I just want to make sure.
We saw one of those.
Here's a good one. This is the one we saw last night. So this girl, Paula, must have had a bad experience with whatever this guy's name is. Apparently not wanting to have kids means I believe I won't be a good mother. Making an edit to add red flag. My profile states, do not swipe if you want kids because I don't want kids. You would not believe how many men get offended by this. She says, you want kids. She said, he replies, you don't believe you would be a good mother?
God.
He's just asking a freaking question.
Like that.
And then somebody replies, it seems like he was just asking.
Yeah.
83 comments on this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but most apps have the option of checking off where it says if you don't want kids. I don't think it's necessary to put in words. Some men don't understand, and obviously some are so lonely that they judge you.
Can I throw this out there? That's actually a great opener. It's actually a great opener.
Yeah, his opener was
like for
what he had to go on.
And for all you know, like I don't know how old that girl was. Like, she might be young, and it might be a situation where he's like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's worth like going out on on a first date with someone, and maybe we have a conversation and the conversation goes great, and we can kind of see where things go and maybe bridge the gap to that serious conversation about kids some other time. Like, is she really serious about not wanting kids, or is it more like, I'm not ready right now and I don't really see myself having kids, but maybe I would with the right person? Like, you never know. And so that's actually a fantastic opener for someone who you think is cute, who you thought had an interesting profile otherwise. And you're just reaching out being like, it's actually quite an intriguing question if you don't just take an irrational offense to it immediately. Like, imagine how cool of a conversation that could have been if she decided to just get to know the guy by opening up about that.
Yeah, he never even said he wanted kids. Just odd.
It's just funny. It's just imagine just having your face plastered.
This is, guys, if you could find a girl that lives in your city to go search your name in these groups, you might want her to do that, because I know a lot of guys that keep getting dates canceled on them, and it's because they have a bad review in these groups. It's like when you were in college and you went on Rate My Professor. This is essentially Rate My Professor, but for dating.
It's kind of an old news thing, I will say.
Here you are. It's a different Dan.
I will also say I have multiple friends who have been involved in this. They say it sucks for a very brief period of time, like a few weeks, but eventually you just become old news because they post on this thing all the fucking time. So it ends up just being fine. I will also say there are other guys who have told me that it sucks immediately, but then all of a sudden they start getting girls who will reach out to them knowing that they saw them in that group. So
it's like the bad boy effect.
I had one guy, he said he got more Instagram DMs a couple weeks after being posted in that than he had ever gotten before.
Yeah.
And he ended up finding out that it was because it was like girls who spotted him in the chat.
Yeah.
So
sorry, a lot of these have like no comments, so they're not really. But like, if you just go through, there's so many
that guy right there,
being
that guy right there,
posted.
he looks like such a just genuinely fine guy. It's like again, don't judge a book by its cover. Looks like the single most harmless dude.
Yeah.
He's like a slightly above average looking dude. Sorry if you're watching, James. Like, just being talked about.
Look at this. Can anyone run a free background check on someone for me? He's not from Boston, though. Somebody replies, does his first name start with an M? Why are you going on a date with somebody you want to run a background check on? Oh my gosh.
Yes, there are some logical women. Why are those women in the chat?
There's a lot of logical women in these groups for some reason.
Are they in this for the entertainment, you think?
I have no idea.
Are they kind of doing what you're doing, but more as like a frontline warrior than like a guerrilla warfare person?
I have no idea. I've never really gotten to know anybody in these groups.
Do you even know what guerrilla warfare is?
Guerrilla warfare?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it means like sort of, for lack of a better term, it's like unofficial or like disorganized, chaotic. Like guerrilla warfare would be like the people who are like hiding in the woods ready to like ambush people, as opposed to the people on the front lines who are just like standing stout ready to like go head to head. So you're kind of the guerrilla warfare of this. Yeah.
Well, anyway, any tea or red flags? Tim, 33. More details in comments once approved. Hi, I talked a couple times and he unmatched me because I didn't reply back quickly. But no horror stories.
Again,
no news is good news, it looks like. How are things going?
It's almost like that girl wanted to like dismiss the previous comment.
And there's so many arguments that happen in these groups too. Like, we go on these, so I'm in a few of them. I'm in a lot of them.
Is there a...
I'm in a lot of them.
Just real quick.
Guys, if you run in these groups, I just want to let you know, there's no way you will ever get rid of me. I am everywhere, and I'm in places that you don't even see. And if you think these groups are going to be a secret forever, you are so wrong, because I have infiltrated the entire "Are we dating the same guy?" network. You're never getting rid of me. You might think that you're, deleting my account, knocking me out of the group, but I promise, when you think you found my account and you think you got rid of that account, there are other accounts, and it's never ending, and you'll never get rid of me.
And I don't even know how she's doing it, and I don't want to know because I don't want the secret to get out. So
I'm everywhere.
Yep.
So if you think any of these groups are secret, post about me all you want. I see it all.
Yep. So we've got...
Anyway. Michael. Michael looks like a fine fella.
Michael looks like he just wants to go on a date.
Yeah. Why is Michael being... like, these poor dudes are just being posted and then just... I've seen so many guys get posted and then they're like...
Hypothetical situation. Imagine you are in a relationship with somebody and you've been in a relationship for years, like maybe like a year and a half, 2 years, but your profile is still active. And then someone from...
luxurious.
Thanks, baby. You bought me the best.
Yeah, this was like $54.
We need to talk about your spending habits.
It's a write-off for the podcast.
We still need to talk about your spending habits.
It's a write-off.
Hypothetical situation. You're dating somebody for like a year and a half, 2 years, but your dating profile is still active. Somebody that you matched with a long time ago who you had a conversation with.
Hold on. Dating. I'm dating somebody.
No, I'm just saying, like, you general.
And me.
Right? Been dating someone for a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
But their dating profile is still active.
Our dating profiles are active.
Because we go to it for content.
Yeah.
But let's imagine that there was a conversation that happened where, like, I reached out to someone with, like, an opener a year and a half ago. But they weren't using their profile. They come back, they see my thing, they respond.
A year and a half later.
And then I don't respond to them. And they go to the chat and be like, any word on this guy? Then somehow, some way, one of your like one of the girl's friends spots your photo on there, and then she goes to like the girl, and the girl now has to go to the guy and confront him about him being on like a dating page. Like, you see how twisted this can get?
It's so convoluted.
And again,
we are still sick, by the way. Did anybody send us bone broth, by the way? If you send us like 10 packages of bone broth, please let us know.
yeah, please, because
We got a random PR package of a ton of bone broth.
Really strange.
Sorry, go ahead.
But think of the whole point of the group, they claim, is we want to protect these women from like potentially dangerous guys.
Meanwhile,
right?
these men are getting slaughtered for no reason.
They're getting absolutely slaughtered.
Nobody's being saved. Okay, here's the thing. You hear these like 1 in a million stories of like, I was saved from this guy that ended up going to jail for like, let's not even mention any crimes, but like this group saved me from this man that did all of these horrific things. If it wasn't for this group, I would have gone on a date with him. This is really bad. Do you think maybe you have bad judgment? Do you think, like, do you put yourself in online dating situations that are that dangerous? Like, I've been on 3 online dates in my whole life, 3 or 4. 3 or 4. One of them was you.
Yeah.
And I make sure that first of all, I made sure on all of those dates that I FaceTimed the person. I made sure that I had talked to them for a good amount of time before I ever met up with them in person. And when I did meet up with them in person, I was surrounded by a lot of people.
Yeah. Imagine going through life.
And I knew about your family before like I had met you in person.
This is what I was going to get into. I know that girls are like the ultra internet detectives.
Yeah.
Like if a guy has
And the thing is, I think a lot of men like to hate on the fact that women are stalkers, but I do think it does go, if we like to talk biological, it does go down to the fact that, like, you know, you want to talk biological, like we are looking out for our safety in other ways than, you know, physical defense mechanisms.
I say you guys are crazy just because the way you go about it is like so insane. Because like the way your brains work, like a guy's mind just doesn't work that way.
But like
because we don't have the fear, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing: it's okay to have that fear of like, is there anything like surface level that I need to be aware of? It's another thing to go through life under the assumption that every single guy you're talking to is basically a sociopath.
Yeah.
Imagine that, like, or a narcissist or a psychopath. Imagine thinking that every single guy you go on a date with is potentially like your whole thought process is this guy is possibly trying to swindle me.
Yep.
You can't. You're thinking about judgment. There's this thing called sense making. Sense making is one's ability to just sort of detect in a conversation whether someone is trustworthy, whether like you guys do it all the time. You can hear somebody talk and you can hear them be like, that guy sounds like a charlatan. That guy sounds like a fake. That guy sounds like he's trying to sound smarter than he actually is. Here's a guy who's trying to make something into a big deal that isn't. Like you can always detect these things. So you're telling me that you go on a date with a guy and you can't tell, looking at him, that he's dangerous? Here's the other thing. A man who is potentially dangerous is actually very attractive to girls. It's a matter of, will he actually exercise that capacity for danger on me? And that's what you're vetting people for. The same way men are vetting women as manipulators, as narcissists themselves, as someone who is disrespectful, damaged, potentially going to cheat. Like all these different things. Men do the same type of sense making. Everything in life comes with a degree of risk. Like, if you should be able to trust your intuition. Your intuition should tell you whether a guy seems like a good guy or not. And if you think he seems like a good guy, I would encourage you to continue seeing that guy and continue to vet him. You do not need to post him and have an entire city provide you with every single solitary detail. Because guess what? Maybe one girl 1 year ago, when he was a different man, in a really, like, maybe he was depressed. Maybe he had just gotten fired from his job. And he had one moment where he did one thing wrong. And all of a sudden, he's just a complete and utter, like, danger to society, and no girl should ever date him. That's what this really boils down to. It's one thing if there are actual, true, like, no questions asked, get the fuck out of there red flags. Like, he cheated on me. Maybe he's changed, but I'd like to hear if other girls have also had the same thing. And you get a bunch of girls being like, yep, did it to me too, did it to me too, did it to me too. All of a sudden, that guy needs to pay some fucking consequences. But this is, I think the moral of the story is, this is the ultimate, like, ready to be abused platform. It can devastate a man's life because there's nothing more harmful than a woman's word against a man. We talked about this in the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing. Mm-hmm. And not every guy has the ability to hire the best lawyers in the business and go down to Fairfax and sue her back. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Anywho, let's move on to...
Yeah, that seizure really knocked you out.
Yeah. I'm really blasted right now.
Okay.
I think I could fall asleep right now. All right, so we're going to do a little new segment at the end of maybe some of our episodes. We'll see how you guys like it, but it's going to be our comments of the week. So either like comments we've seen in our comment section or even like emails that we've gotten that we just think are interesting and worth a share. We get a ton of like, hate messages every day, which is I'm used to that by now. That shit doesn't bother me. But there's sometimes that we're just like, sometimes it's like a really good comment that's like an interesting point, or something that's just like, holy shit. So do you want to do mine or yours first?
Let's do mine. Mine's pretty simple.
Okay, so yours
It's quite pleasant.
is an Instagram. All right, so basically,
Can I pull it up here so I can scroll and kind of read through it?
I have it right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you have all of them.
Yeah.
Cool.
These are the first two, and then once we're done, we'll. So basically, Dan posted a video about submission. You guys can go watch it. I'll link it down somewhere. But
Sorry.
we're clearly both sick right now from the last podcast too. So and he was like, he sounded really raspy in it. So I commented, sorry I got you sick. I'll go make you a tea. #submission. Like, funny. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, and again, the premise of the video is, I'm trying to think the best way to simplify it, but it's basically saying like submission is not something that you demand. It's something that just happens naturally. Like if you're a man worthy of respect, submission happens naturally.
Yeah.
And
so
and the first girl that commented back on this basically said like, no, like that's not submission, because she was under this impression, and you'll see this throughout the comments. She associates submission with the idea of being forced into that submissive position.
Yeah.
So
she says that's not submission. That's being a loving spouse. Submission is when he tells you to go make some tea because you made him sick.
Now what I consider to be the comment of the week is coming up, and it's from this. How do you say that? Is it Driftory?
It doesn't matter.
This is a girl that follows me. I think follows Billy Ray too. And talk about hitting the nail on the fucking head. Like, I might as well have made.
Yeah, when you guys
the
think there's like
video.
no women left in the world, like this is why we want to show you this shit, because there are so many women. Like, I see them in my DMs all the time. There are so many women out there that share your values and are looking for guys just like you.
And unfortunately,
please don't become black-pilled.
And unfortunately, this one is taken. But there are other, because she talks about her man and her relationship.
I didn't read these yet.
But there are women like this in the world. I promise.
So she says, not the definition pointed out in this video, though. Submission doesn't have to be a charged thing or punitive in any way. It's allowing the one you love to be the leader. Word meaning varies by context.
Now, the follow-up here, first of all, the girl condescends back by basically being like, do you guys never look at definitions with like the laughing emoji, which is a classic. I always talk about the like argument from intimidation, make them sound stupid.
Goes to the Webster's definition, the action or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force in the will or authority of another person. They were forced into submission. To accept or yield to a superior force, to the authority or will of another person. The original settlers were forced to submit to the Bulgarian rule, ready to conform to the authority or will of others, meekly obedient or passive, a submissive, almost sheep-like people.
And notice the examples that she gave in the first two. Both of them had to do with being forced to do something, which is not what submission is. It's not being forced. It doesn't require that you be forced into it. And this is the point that that Driftory brings up. Do you want if I read it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she agrees, first of all, but this is such an unbelievable comment. It goes, right, to a superior force, which is not to be confused with forced, which is exactly the point. Accepting and yielding do not imply force. The other definition you listed, meekly obediently, aligns with Dan's position, and not all people see that position as a bad thing. I want to accept and yield to the will of my partner, who I do look to as a superior force, which, by the way, is just kind of the nature of men and women. Men are a superior force in the sense that when it all boils down to objective physicality, we are the ones who have that privilege of being more physical. So in that sense, that's the biggest privilege that men have. So yes, she views him very naturally as a superior force, but also clearly has respect for him as an intellectual force, as a leader. and says, I want to accept and yield to the will of my partner, who I do look to as a superior force. I do it, however, because he treats me like a queen, and I can see that everything he does is ultimately to make me happy and create a good life for us. I'm not bothered by considering myself inferior in terms of who holds the power or who is the decision maker in the relationship. It doesn't mean I'm any less special, and somehow it works out that I get everything I want and more. And that is the goal of every single man when it comes to what you want your woman to experience. Every single man goes out of his way to impose his will on the world for the sake of the woman he loves. And for a woman to understand that is such a fucking breath of fresh air, because I never see them in my comment sections. Honestly, like that could have been the short. It was so well said. So, Drift Hori, if you happen to be watching, thank you. That was an awesome comment, and I couldn't agree more.
And then you get the last one. That's sad. Actually, it does. And useless.
Yeah.
Actually, it does and useless.
So again, just dismissive,
Whatever.
No actual rebuttals, just saying, no, that's so sad.
That's what we expect from people like that, though.
But great comment.
In terms of my favorite comment of the week, this was an email.
This one's loaded.
That I just found interesting, and I would love to start a conversation about it. It's just so, like...
We can probably summarize it to the big question. The first part.
No, let me just read it. It's like 3 sentences. I've been following your page for a while after watching you on the Whatever podcast. It's nice to see young women such as yourself who still has conservative and traditional values, unlike the women of this generation who are brainwashed thanks to hookup culture and OnlyFans. I was wondering if you could share some advice with me. Last relationship I was in ended pretty terribly, and the way the majority of women are today. I'm completely out of control. I'm young, 21 years old, and made it my goal to be settled down and married with children by 25. I'm starting to rethink that because I'm not sure if I want to settle down in the future. It's hard to find a pure woman who hasn't been passed around. Do you think it would be a bad idea if I paid a surrogate woman to carry a child for me in the future? In your opinion, do you think it would be unbiblical or wrong for me to do that instead of getting married and possibly losing everything? Thank you, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. This is what, is to Mary's point about this is somebody who has seen all of these red pill videos and now thinks that these red pill talking points are just the only truth. That divorce, the possibility of divorce is the only truth. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, well, that's a bad way to phrase it. But like
I understand what you're saying.
Overwhelming high probability of divorce is like the only way.
Well, again,
this is coming from somebody who seems religious, I think.
Again, it's the myopic view of the situation. It's like if it's a 50-50 chance, which we already got into the statistics last episode, but like let's just say for all intents and purposes, look at the raw number. If you know that you have a 1 in 2 chance, like it's a coin flip whether your marriage works out statistically, and you know that if it doesn't work out, you're the one getting the shaft. That tilts you to the side of not going to risk it, right? And the point that Mary was making is that like most guys don't actually understand really any laws. They don't understand a whole lot of, the typical outcomes. They don't understand that they're really just looking at this from the perspective of it's probably not worth it because it's a coin flip and I'm going to get the shaft. It's a very minimalistic, myopic view.
I could answer this so quickly. If you are intentionally withholding a dual parent household for a child, then I'm in disagreement with this.
That too.
Yeah.
Granted, as a single father, you are significantly statistically likely to do better than a single mother, but still
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. A child should be raised with both their mother and father. Obviously, there are situations where that just can't happen, death. But I think the parents should work together to their best ability to make that happen for the kid. And I think it is unfair to a child to withhold that from them. So that's my answer to that. But the fact that this is on somebody's mind, and I think this person has the best intentions too. The fact that this is on somebody's mind is troubling.
Well, there's a lot of things on people's mind nowadays that didn't used to be just because of the access to information. But that's why I think it's like the scare tactics have gotten people to this mindset.
It might not even necessarily be scare tactics. It might be a lot of people who are, I don't even want to say misinformed. I want to say not fully informed, right? Because what sells?
Fear,
right? And you don't hear about
negativity.
You don't hear about the catastrophic divorces of women, right? The same way you don't hear about the grapes of men, right? Like you hear that there's stereotypes that exist with this stuff. And he is a he's collateral damage. He is a peripheral victim of a period of time where marriage is being thought about very critically for one of the first times I'd like to think one of the first times in history, right? So I think he's just lost.
Yeah.
He's just lost. And I think that we're getting to a point now where, because there's so much information out there, people are just going to have to start doing a lot of their own research on this stuff. Like, if you're a man and you are scared to get married, which, by the way, just to kind of caveat this, there are also a lot of really positive things that happen for guys to get married. Like, you should see the numbers on finances that happen for men who get married at a certain point to a certain type of girl, and how their finances grow, how their hormones work, all this different stuff.
I'm having a seizure.
I know. You all right?
Yeah.
But it's getting to a point now where you're going to have to just do your own research. Like, if marriage is that much of a concern to you, you are going to have to start to figure out, okay, well, what do I want out of life? Do I want kids? If I want kids, what's the best outcome for the kids? Well, best outcome for the kid is to have two parents in the household who love each other. How am I going to get two parents in the household? Well, I got to make sure that my wife is also going to be willing to sign on for a deal that makes sense. That's another thing I mentioned in the last episode. So you need to really understand what it is that you're signing up for. And a lot of the information that's out there is incomplete. So you need to do your homework. So sorry if that's not a full answer. I think she answered it very, very concretely, in the sense that it's just not a good idea to bring a kid into the world to a single parent household of any kind. So in that sense, that should guide you a little bit. I'm talking to him like he's watching this. Maybe he is. But bottom line is, we live in an era where you're going to have to do more work in order to come up with these answers on your own, so that you're comfortable with the decision.
Yeah. Well, I keep having seizures as we're sitting here, so I think we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Let us know in the comments what you guys think of this episode and what you want to see for next time. And yeah, I am going to go throw up.
Sounds good.
Love you guys. Good night.
See ya.